Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we have a super fun video. I have told a birth story, Maddie has told her birth story, but Shelby hasn't yet.
Not yet.
So that's what we're doing today, you guys. We get to learn how little Leo came into this world. Okay.
Okay, so Leo was born on a Sunday on April 29th, and 2 days before that, it was Steve's birthday, April 27th, and we were at a Utah Jazz game. It was game 6. We were closing out against OKC at home, and it was a super intense game. We were on row 3, and Leo wasn't due for 3 weeks, okay? So here I am screaming and cheering with all the other crazy Jazz fans. And halfway through the game, I sat down because everyone's standing the whole game. Obviously, it's a very intense and exciting game. I sit down because I just something hit me, and Steve's like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I just don't feel good." And he's like, "Do we need to go home?" I'm like, "No, are you kidding me? I am fine." So anyways, at halftime, I relax, go get some water, walk around, and then we enjoy the last half, and we're in the car, and I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't feel normal. And he's like, "Are you contracting?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not having any kind of contractions. I just don't feel good." So we go home, and I couldn't sleep at all Friday night. I got maybe an hour of sleep just because I didn't feel good. The next day, that Saturday, we were having a birthday party at my parents' house for Steve with my family. So we go up in the afternoon, and we're all having a big dinner that night, and everyone's around my parents' campfire outside. And I got so sick, so sick, you guys. I ran into the house, and my mom followed me because I think she could tell because I booked it. Ran into her house, and I was so sick. My body was just detoxing, and I was throwing up harder than yes. I was throwing up harder than I ever had.
Ow, and when your stomach is that tight,
yes,
so tight. Oh.
And it went on for an hour and a half that night of just being so sick, and Steve's like, "Should we call your doctor?" And I'm like, "No, I think I'm fine. I don't know what's going on." And my mom's like, "Your body's preparing for labor." And I'm like, "No, it's not, Mom. He's not due for 3 weeks, but I'm supposed to get induced next week, and that's not the plan. I'm not going into labor." So I had a doctor appointment the day before, so they obviously weighed me, so I knew how much I weighed. And Steve's looking on Google, signs of going into labor. So he's like, "Get on the scale." And I had lost 6 pounds, and he's like, "You're going into labor." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm really not." Steve. Yeah. And so I was too sick to drive home that night because we live about an hour away from my parents, and I just knew physically I couldn't drive being that sick. We would be pulling over every 5 minutes.
And down a windy canyon.
Yeah. So we just stayed in my parents' guest bedroom, and I have to take blood thinner injections.
I'm just gonna bring this up and wait.
Yeah, so I have to take blood thinner injections kind of like Ken's did. And the reason they wanted to induce me is so that I wouldn't take those for 12 hours so that I could have an epidural and no complications or anything like that. So my mom and Steve were like, "I really don't think you should take your injection tonight." And I was like, "No, I'm going to. I'm not in labor. Leo is not coming yet.
I need my shot."
Yeah, so I did my shot that night.
I thought you didn't.
Nope.
Why did I think we didn't do it?
I did it that night. And then I went to sleep, and I was totally fine through the night. I didn't sleep again. So this has been 2 full days without sleep, basically.
Oh.
But I wasn't throwing up. I wasn't sick. I felt okay. And that morning I woke up, and my body just felt different, you guys. I felt so low, and I looked so low. It was just,
Baby's engaged.
Yeah, I just felt so different. And
it was that one that
yes. And so Steve asked me, he's like, "Do you want to do your injection?" And I was like, "No, after we have brunch with my family, we'll call the doctor, maybe go get checked, just make sure everything's good. So I won't take it until we see our doctor." And so my whole family's having brunch, that morning. And I told Steve, I'm like, "I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then we'll leave in a little bit." So I go to the bathroom. I am going pee, finished going pee, okay? So literally just emptied my bladder. Stand up to pull my pants up, and a huge gush just hits the toilet. And I was like, "What the heck just happened?" I didn't just pee, that didn't feel like I peed my pants, and I just went pee, so I couldn't pee again. So luckily I like know what signs to look for when your water breaks. So I grabbed some toilet paper and just like dabbed myself, and TMI, but I smelt it.
Yes.
And if it smells like strawberries or like a sweet smell and not like urine, that's your water breaking. And I always heard that it smelled sweet, but I was like, yeah, whatever. So I just like sniffed it to make sure it wasn't urine. I didn't really believe the sweet myth that I had already always heard. Okay, so I like sniffed the toilet paper and I was like,
oh my God.
This is strawberries and cream. Like, I had like lip gloss that smelled like this, okay? Like, my water just broke. And you guys have to understand my family, okay? You guys have seen my family on several of the Moffat's vlogs and just here, but we are a loud, crazy bunch, and we're all very involved in each other's lives.
We all love each other too much, so the thought of someone like getting a paper cut hurts us.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
And in my mind, I know that if I go out there with my entire family and say my water just broke, everyone's gonna start screaming and running and jumping.
Dad would have scooped you out. Dad would have been like, wait. Everyone wait.
I've like replayed a million times in my head what my family would have done.
I
like,
wish you would have just
I wish I would have. I know. But like I came out and I tried so hard to remain like
she did
poker face.
I had no idea. And I was like, see,
everyone's like sitting down eating. Steve's like mid bite to eat his breakfast sandwich. I was like, we gotta go right now. And he's like, right now? And I'm like, right now. We gotta go right now. And he's like, okay, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, we just have to go right now. And my mom's like, did you just throw up again? Are you okay? And I'm like, Mom, I'm fine. I don't feel good. I just want to get home. Go. And they're like, okay.
I was not phased at all. I was like, okay, see ya.
So we get in the car. I wait till we're out of my parents' neighborhood because, again, my husband, it's like the rest of my family, and I think he would have turned around to grab my dad or something. Mm-hmm. So I wait till we're out of the neighborhood, and I look at him and I'm like, honey, don't freak out.
Okay. 10. We have 10.
I said, honey, don't freak out, but my water broke. And the look he gave me, he's like, it broke right now, like just right now on the seat. And I'm like, no, it broke at my parents' house. And he's like, and you're just telling me right now? We're going straight to the hospital. I'm like, no, we're not. I want to go home and shower because the night before, you guys, we were sitting around my parents' bonfire. I smelled like fire. I honestly think I smelled like throw up because I was throwing up all night. That I'm like, I don't want my baby to smell bonfire and throw up the first time it meets me. So, and I know I had gone through birthing classes and everything. I know you have 24 hours from when your water breaks to when the baby has to be here to avoid infection.
You were good.
Yeah, I was being very careful. So we go home, we drive an hour home, and I hurry and take a shower, get all my stuff. Steve's laughing because I'm like putting on a little bit of makeup, and he's like, you're actually like,
I love how they laugh at that, and you're like, I want to look good for this moment, right?
Well, and I'm just like, I don't think I'll feel pretty like pushing a child out of me, so I want to like try somewhat.
Do what I can.
I thought it was going to be like the movies, honestly, where you're like screaming and holding on to things, walking out of your house as you're having contractions. And I feel like right now, like no contractions at this point. Like I was totally fine. So I was like, yeah, I can throw on some makeup. Like it's no big deal. So this was at like 10 a.m. So we get in the car, we go to the hospital, we check in, and I love my doctors and nurses.
Have you not called us by now?
No, I hadn't called my family yet. And so I love my doctors and nurses because they totally trust me. We called on our way and said, hey, I think my water broke. I like had a very sweet smell, and they're like, okay, come on in, we'll get you checked in. Mm-hmm. So I go, and she's like, I totally believe you that your water breaks. So I just have to test it just to make sure. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes. She came back in like 30 seconds, and she's like, yep, your water broke. She's like, so I just called your doctor, and he is actually off today. So we have the on-call doctor that's gonna help you. And I look at Steve and I'm like, what?
This is not what I wanted.
And you women know how that relationship is. Like, we had a high-risk pregnancy anyway that I felt like I had trusted him. He knew my history. He knew everything. How am I supposed
what you needed.
Yeah. How am I supposed to like tell all this to a new person? Like what?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. So the new doctor came in. No, I don't even think that new doctor came in actually. A different nurse came in, and she was just asking a bunch of questions, and I like just a few things my doctor had gone over with me, like what we'd have to do in labor. I started asking her. I'm like, do I need to have the compression socks on right now? Do you need to hook up the monitor right now so they're constantly pumping, and just things like this? And she's like, let me go call him and we'll get all your questions answered. So she had left, And then I decided to call my mom. So it had been like an hour and a half since we had left my parents' house. I call my mom and I'm like, hi. And she's like, hi, are you feeling better? Are you going to the hospital? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to the hospital. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, my water broke. And she's like, what? And so I hear
We're all sitting in the living room.
Yeah, so I hear my whole family start screaming. And she's like, Kate, we're getting ready. We'll come right down. And I'm like, Mom, like they haven't started Pitocin or anything.
They haven't checked me.
They hadn't even checked me like to know how far along I was. That I was like, we'll call you. And she's like, okay, just keep us updated. And I'm like, okay.
Nope.
So
Let me tell our son.
'Kay.
She clicked. I'm pretty
Everyone get
95% sure me, Kenzie, Jeanette, and Aubrey got in the car. We did.
Well,
we didn't
I
wait
came
for the
home.
phone call.
I came home to get my kids home and settled
And
with
Aubrey
Cody
went home.
and got all the camera equipment from Cody.
And then we picked Aubrey, you up, and we left. We did not wait for her to
No.
call us back. The
No.
four of us. Mom was like, yeah, okay, call us when you're ready. No, we went. We left the kids and dad's home, but us four did not wait for that call.
And so then, mind you, my family's an hour away, okay? Here come my mom and sisters walking in before my doctor called back, okay? Like, that's how soon they got there. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Anyway, so it was nice to have them there the whole time, but the nurse came back in and she's like, okay, I called your doctor and he's on his way in. He wants to deliver
Oh.
it. He's going to be here. He'll make sure everything's going smoothly, but he's
so
coming in on
sweet.
his day
So
off.
sweet.
And I actually, when I start crying because we are so blessed to have that type of doctor, because I think if I were in that type of profession, their crazy hours and schedules, I don't think I'd be like, I'll go in for one patient. I'd be like, sorry, it's my day off. It's a Sunday. You know what I mean?
I was there all night. Love you. Good luck.
Yeah, like there's another person that can do it. Yeah, so we are so blessed. He came in and he was just amazing. But anyways, we got there at 11 a.m. I think they started Pitocin around 2 p.m. to start inducing labor, because at this point, again, I hadn't had any contractions or anything like that. And then a few hours later, I started feeling contractions, and they weren't painful at this time. Like, I felt like my back tightening up, and you could see, of course, your stomach getting super tight. They weren't painful at all. Like, it was just like a whoa type feeling. And the nurse who was like, "Okay, let's get the epidural starting because your contractions are starting." I'm like, okay, like if I don't have to feel these contractions, great. So I did do an epidural, and I pushed for 2.5 hours. That was like the longest 2.5 hours.
That's like
of
running
my
a
life.
marathon. Do you
Yes.
know how much energy you exert when you're pushing like that?
And
That's a long time to do it, you guys.
I just remember, and I'm gonna get like so emotional saying this. I feel like I get emotional in all our videos. But I just remember like pushing so hard with everything I had, because we had fought so hard to get Leo here that I'm like, this is like the home stretch. And I've done so much up until this point. Like, I am going to do this. Like, get out of here.
Let me
Like,
hold
yes.
him.
Like,
Yeah.
it was the craziest 2.5 hours. And the way that my birthing canal is shaped, he kept like coming out and like getting stuck. Like, he like kind of had to curve up. So they did have to use, what are they called?
Forceps.
Yeah, the forceps to pull Leo out, because he did kept getting stuck.
And
And
it had been so long, the babies can start to feel distressed being in the birth canal that long.
his oxygen did drop a little bit, not like concerning, but they're like, okay, this is a sign that he's under a lot of stress. So
Yeah.
we're going to use forceps just to get him out. But when they do have to interfere with something like that, they have to bring in like a NICU team just to check, make sure they're okay. So they pull him out. And we saw him, and I lost it. And I didn't get a hold of him because, of course, the NICU team had to pull him away right away. And he wasn't crying at first, because on his way out, he did take a big gulp of amniotic fluid, they said. So once they had like patted his back, he started crying, and it was the sweetest sound ever. He was born at 11 o'clock that night. So we were there for like 12 hours before he came. And I was exhausted because I hadn't slept for 2 days before. And the worst part is I think like during labor, my body, again, TMI, was like still detoxing, but I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I just want my baby here. And that is the story
I think-
of Leo.
Well, I was more exhausted during Leo's than I was India's. That's no.
Well,
Well, she was huge and pregnant with
My due
Yes.
date was before hers.
It
FYI.
was. Yes. Her due date was what? A week before mine.
you.
And he came 3 weeks early, so he's 2 weeks older than her. So we had a room full of people. And let me tell you, like an hour after my mom and sisters had shown up, my dad and brothers had shown up. because
And your mother-in-law and your father-in-law and sister-in-law.
yes, everyone was there.
But you have to know,
This was a big deal.
every birth, all of Kenzie's, India's, they were so special. But you have to know, for Steve's family and Shelby's family, this one was
Different.
It's not more special, I'm not saying that, but it was different.
Yeah.
And there was a reason all of us came so fast.
And there was a reason all of us broke down and cried like babies when he was born.
Yes.
And I seriously, you guys, all of it is on film. I was able to film it all, and Shelb and Steve were so kind to let us post it, and they actually posted it as well. So we'll link it here so you can watch it.
It's my favorite video ever.
But
It was the most special moment.
yeah.
It was a long time coming.
Yeah. And
How much did he weigh? Everything?
he weighed 7'2", right?
Yeah.
He was
7'2".
smaller than Sis. Holy crap.
And
India.
yeah, then India, he was, yeah, I
Wow.
remember that. And then he was 19 and a half inches long, and he had a lot of hair, dark hair.
And it stood straight up.
It did.
Like,
Steve called him a Turk baby, like Turk on Tarzan, because it just like
So
stood
cute,
straight
guys.
up.
it was so cute.
And nursing, he did pretty well right off. Like, he didn't latch right away, but I feel like for him and I both being first timers, like, we did pretty good within the first 24 hours. He did have really low blood sugar, so they had to keep like checking his blood sugar levels every 2 hours. So our entire visit at the hospital, they'd come in every 2 hours and poke his toe, the bottom of his toe, to get his blood. And I remember every time he like heard the plastic opening, even as a newborn, he'd start crying because it was like traumatizing to him. But that came up right away with nursing, and other than that,
It was perfect.
yeah,
That was
I
he
had
was
to
a healthy
tell you.
little babe.
Want to know what my favorite part of your delivery was? Like
What?
your delivery day? Obviously, I was super excited and I wanted to be there for my sister. But when we all arrived, I could tell she was overwhelmed. I could tell she was exhausted, and I could tell she didn't feel good. So I think we were only in the room for like 5 minutes when I was like, okay, we love you so much, Shelb. Let us know if you need anything. We're going to go wait in the visitor room. Just because I know the feeling, you know? I'm like, I don't want you to feel like you can't throw up or you can't be in pain or you feel like you're on stage.
Yep.
So we all grabbed our stuff and left, and I think we had only been out of the room like 5 minutes when I got a text from Shelb, and she's like, will you please come back in here? And that was literally, like, that text meant so much to me, and I was like, yeah, and I like grabbed my stuff and I like ran back in there.
Well, and it was one of those moments too where I don't regret anything, but I wanted like Kenzie and Maddie and my mom in there so bad. And I love, and we are so grateful that we have a family like this, but when Kenzie and my mom are in there, everyone else is like, oh, wait, I want to be in there too,
Yeah.
you know? So watch the birthing video because you will see we have a audience. We really do.
Yeah, and the second he comes out, all the men are suddenly like, the grandpas and the uncles, they're all wrapped
They're
up.
all in the room. Yeah. It was so
It
fun.
was special, and luckily you had a big room though.
Oh, yeah.
The room
Because-
was giant.
Yeah.
'Cause
You
it was
had-
still roomy with all of us in there.
Legitimately, I think I've counted. There was at least 17 to 20 people.
Well, let's count you. Kenzie, Mom, already account. Dad, Joe, Jen, Matt, me, Steve.
And then I had the doctor, and then I
So 20 people
legit.
in one room.
Like, there was a lot of
But
bodies.
there was still a lot of room.
There was
like I was
a lot of
filming
room.
and I didn't have to
Well,
like
that
ask
was
anyone to look
another
out or
thing.
anything.
Like, as if her hospital nurses and doctors weren't already like amazing. Literally, most nurses and doctors, when more people are coming in, they're kind of like,
Well, they get annoyed 'cause
Every
they're-
person
you're
that
in their
came
way.
in, they legit pulled out another chair.
Yeah.
Like,
they
here's
did.
another chair, and I'm like, okay.
It was just such a special moment we all wanted to be a part of. We were so happy and excited for Shelb and Steve
Yeah.
and could not wait to meet our nephew. So
And he's the sweetest.
He
And he is almost 17 months old, which
crazy.
blows my mind. I feel like the story I'm telling happened yesterday, that I can't believe it was 17 months
And
ago.
can I tell you that little 17-month-old is psycho scary smart.
No, it's like,
He knows every number 1 to 20. Like
He does.
if you have numbers out and you say point to 8, point to 11, he knows
no, there was counting
all
on
his colors, all his body parts.
counting on the TV, and he's sitting in the high chair eating, and I'm standing by him. All of a sudden, I start hearing a second voice, and I'm like, so I look at him, and he's like, 2, 3, 4, and I was
You
like,
can count to 10.
I'm like, and then me to India, 1, and she goes, 2, and that's it, and I'm like, okay.
That's good though.
He's smart.
I
so
blame Steve
smart.
because Steve has a photographic memory. He can see some, like, a set of numbers once and will remember it the rest of his life. And I am not like that at all. And I think Leo's that way. He sees something once and he just remembers it. He has photographic memory.
Intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do want to shout out my husband because he was like the best birthing coach ever. You guys, I forced him to take a birthing class with me, okay? And it was every single Monday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at our hospital. And it was like 6 weeks long, and he came every single Monday with me. And at first he was so annoyed, and by the last class, like he remembered everything. Like he knew like what 411 meant, and like he just knew all of this stuff. That when I was actually in labor, he was a champ. Like the nurse loved it because she was like, I'm gonna step back, Steve, you count, you pull, like you talk to her, you rub there. Like he just knew. So if you haven't had a baby yet, or if you have and you want your significant other to like have a bigger part in that, I recommend taking a birthing class because they'll learn exactly what they need to do. And I know they have them for C-sections too. So if you want your partner more involved and how to make it more enjoyable for both of you, especially you, I highly recommend it. That is our labor and delivery story with Leo. I know we'll probably get a few questions about like our process because we've mentioned in this video, and I know people have asked in the past. I think we'll probably film that later on. We'll probably want to...
Shelb wants Steve with her too when they talk about that.
Yeah. It's a long story, you guys.
And it's heavy. It has a lot of emotions attached to it. So.
We've never like sat down and like told this story, and there are like certain things that happen during our story and process that I don't even think my sisters know about because it's just like so emotional that I think like give us a little bit longer and we'll be able to do it, but...
It'll be a thing you'll be glad to
still
have
fresh.
documented.
Yeah.
But if you have any other questions like about it, I'd be more than happy to comment in the comments down below, respond.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you're having an awesome day. Make sure to have fun this weekend and leave some comments down below for Rockstar Shelb and cute little Leo. Love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Can you see how dirty the lens is?
Yeah, one of our kids got on that.
Oh, and it moved.
India.
I blame Indy because she kept grabbing it.
Blame India.
When they were on the couch, she kept going up and grabbing it, and I'd say, Indy, no, and she'd look at me like, but I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't get a pedicure because I'm afraid they'll ruin my toenail.
Oh, yeah.
God. I just almost said something else besides shoe.
I'd wait till it like grows out. And, that's my shoe. Sorry.
Just don't let mine see me.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
As long as mine doesn't see me, she's fine. If she sees me, it's game over.